UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, former NFL quarterback.
29-year-old Sean Salisbury, his second start as a National Football League quarterback.
Hey guys, welcome to UNPAVED. I'm Sean Salisbury. Bring Adam Sager in right now. Adam G. Sager on Twitter. I'm at Sean Unfiltered. A lot going on, Segs. It is the off season, but we've talked Bears and their possible movement, and it's got a lot of people in an uproar. We cover the Trojans and the Texans and the Astros wall to wall, and nationally we hit it all. And for those that think this is dead time, it ain't dead time for us. We add a gold medal to the list, even though we didn't do it, Segs, in dramatic fashion, which was awesome. Hopefully that carries over to our men, but good stuff to start. USC Trojans, for our Trojan fans out there, building something headed towards spring ball, and there is no excuses for them. Good to see you, brother. This is the time for a lot of teams to get moving with spring training in baseball and a lot of changes, trades in the draft and football. This is going to go haywire with all this football stuff over the next couple of weeks and months, Segs, as we build towards watching guys fall in the draft because of shorts and a t-shirt, and rise because somebody liked the way they threw some ball off schedule. It's a crazy world we live in. Good to be with you today, brother.
Yeah, we got the first games kicking off of spring training today. We got the combine next week, free agency with the second week of March. I mean, we got it all coming quickly, and this is the best place to talk about it all.
No doubt. Wall to wall, north to south, east to west, from the desert to the sea and all of the country. We got Bailey, who's our producer, the best in the business, as well as Laura, who gets all that stuff up for us and keeps us honest, and Segs and I here. Segs, real quick, I know we got a lot to talk about. You got a lot of questions to fire at me, including with all the Trojan changes. How does just the early thought of a tough schedule look for them moving forward? But I was thinking, Segs, about the combine, and I know we'll hit a lot of it. I'm not a big combine guy. Obviously, I went to it. I understand the measurables part of it. There's things that if I could change it, you could get them to do it. I wish we'd run routes with pads and a helmet on, just so I could see guys, little things that could be adjusted. There's no injury. It drives me nuts. Made for TV event. I don't think we get the most out of it, but I understand you got to get people's times and stuff down. But there's guys that get rich because of a combine day, and then 3 years later are out of the league. And then there's guys who may not be great combine guys, but they're great football players. The key is for scouts and those people who are scouting them and general managers and coaches to be able to see that and understand how the prospect of how you parlay it out, what it's going to look like. But just a little tidbit, and I know some of my Trojans will be there and around the country, and it's going to be an interesting combine quarterback-wise because the guys who are at the top that left fell during the season. Can they rise back up as we move forward? And the Trojans are throwing a couple good receivers in there to that as well.
Yeah, we'll get into some combine talk next week and the week after when it's really going on and we're getting to see these quarterbacks throw the ball or the wide receivers run their routes or, how fast does, Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State, they're talking, can he be that first 4-1-9 guy? And so, I mean, we got guys with some blazing speed that, I mean, man, can you imagine what's funny about that?
Whenever you go to school, have you ever, and I know I've been around some guys that could flat out burn, right? I mean, take it from USC to the pros, guys that you're like, damn. But you know what's crazy, Segs? This is the honest truth. How many guys have ever in person that you've seen? I'll say from me, and I know how fast. Now, I didn't play with Bo Jackson or Dion. I played against him, but I didn't play with him. And it's like, well, that I trust. But rare is the guy who, like, you go to high school and he says, I'm 4.58. He'll usually run 4.62, but it's a hammy or the conditions. Right. I go to SC, dude, and we had like Daryl Hopper, one of our DBs, dude, could He was legit 4-4, and at times I know in his training snuck into the high 4.3s, right?
Yeah.
But but in person I never saw it rain. You're living up to it, and even in the NFL with guys I played that had speed to burn, I'm a 4.38 guy, but they never go below or hit that number when I see it in person. Now you watch on the combine, guys are pumping 4.27. It doesn't happen often, but a guy who thinks he's got it in him, I can tell you right now, ain't nobody running 4.1. It's not going to happen. Now, he may have done it on his time, but I'll be shocked if anybody's pumping out 4.19 or one of those 4.18. I mean, that's just inhuman, and I guess it can happen. But I just always laugh at I've never seen in person a guy who's sub 4.4 or sub 4.35 run 4.3, run what he said or below. Not that they're lying, they may have, but I've never seen it with my eyes. So, and they're still motoring. Hell, it looks awful fast to me. But the 4.7 guys usually 4.74. The 4.6 guys 4.68. The 4.5 guys 4.59 or 4.61 most of the time. I know it happens most of the time.
I'm more impressed by these linebackers or the edge guys that are 240 plus pounds running 4.39.
Yeah, yes.
A 180-pound kid running, 4.24. Like these guys that are huge.
Or 280 running 4.8, 290, 300 running 4.75.
Those big guys.
The fat guys, man. Yeah.
They get out there and they burn. It's like, holy shit, how do they do that? But yeah, you talk about your Trojans, and we'll watch Mekhi Lemon. We'll watch Jacoby Lane and see how fast they run, how they run their routes. And, I mean, if there's a better route runner than Mekhi Lemon in this draft, I would love
precise, dynamic, brother.
Yeah. So we'll talk about those guys and everybody else in the next couple weeks. But we mentioned yesterday, let's take an early look at the Trojans schedule and kind of just figure out, okay, where do they sit and how does it match up? Now, we are missing a game. They will play early in that week 0 with an opponent to be determined. So that will be figured out here rather soon. But let's start.
I'll be honest. I have not looked. I did it on purpose. Okay. I did not look at the schedule. I did not look at last year's record for any opponent. I mean, I get an idea when Indiana or anybody pops up. Right, I know what they did or Michigan. So you want me to base this on how I feel about last year's team?
Yeah,
not the Trojans, but the opponent overall.
Like,
fair enough.
You're the Trojans. You're like,
judging from the Trojans' ads and changes, how they match up against these teams.
We feel good here. We don't, maybe this will be tougher, that kind of stuff. So let's start. Obviously, week 0, we don't know yet. But when you go to September 5th, you open up, you're at home against Fresno State. I'm sure you're feeling good there.
Beat down, we're 1-0. I'm feeling absolutely good. Respect Fresno State's program. We lose to Fresno State, fire them on the spot. So
then
not going to happen.
The following week, you're home again. It's another, G5 team in the Louisiana Raging Cajuns coming to the Coliseum.
The backups will be playing by quarter 3.
Right. Okay. Right. Exactly. All right. Now you get into some Big Ten play. Travel across the country. But, you feel good, all these changes, and it's
2 home games to start, right? So you're feeling pretty rested.
You got to travel all the way over to Jersey, but it's Rutgers. So a nice little, which will be your 4th game. I think you're hoping you're 4-0 at this point.
Yeah, I'm assuming we'll 1-0, hopefully, with the 0 game. And then you go to Rutgers. Rutgers feels like, Segs, ugly. Now, if you it could be an ugly game, but eventually you end up winning 38-10, 38-17. We should be, depending on the 0 opponent, 4-0. Rutgers is not your biggest test to go on the road. And in truth, after 2 home, at least those 2 back-to-backers with Fresno State and the Raging Cajuns, you should be pretty damn fresh to take on Rutgers. And in truth, Rutgers should not be a threat to the Trojans. 4-0.
All right. And I'm just looking here. The latest talk of week 0 is, let me get this right. It's possibly North Dakota State. I didn't want to get North and South mixed up. It's North Dakota State is the big possibility.
Scary for me, Sigs. I'll tell you why. Program's really friggin' good. They know how to win. If you want USC, if you're North Dakota State, you don't want them in week 7.
Right.
You want them. You want to see them because they're coming out tested. I know they'll come out fired up. Sometimes you're over jacked up and you turn the ball over and get. North Dakota State will be competitive for a while. The attrition, the depth may wear them out. A lot of respect. Matter of fact, to those games you just mentioned, I'd be more concerned about opening against them than Fresno. That's the team that scares me the most in the first four because they know how to win. They've had success at another level, but they'll be ready to do some things and show you some stuff that the Trojans are used to, and they're tough as hell. And they got something to prove because they want to prove they can run with those big boys as well. Dangerous game if you come in thinking that's North Dakota State. And that's one where you're down 14-3, and then you have to turn it around and kick ass. Fortunately, more than likely, whether it's a neutral site or at home. So they'll win, and I'd love to see that game. But that one concerns me more than the other three do, Segs. Honest to God.
And we'll get that figured out here in the coming months, and we'll let you know when that is officially finalized. But according to a story I just read, that looks like the early favorite to be the week 0.
I'm all in on it.
So you got the Trojans at 4-0, heading into September 26th. Come back home after the Rutgers game. Now you got Dan Lanning, Dante Moore, and the Oregon Ducks walking into your stadium. How you feel based on the changes made by the Trojans? Jayden Maiava returning as the quarterback, but now you got Dan Lanning and Dante Moore who decided to return as well to go for a national title. This is the first real big test for this Trojans team in 2020.
And they got us on the road. They got us in their building this past year, Segs. Really good. Having the quarterback back's a difference. But I'll tell you what, Oregon's going to see a defense that they haven't seen yet. If it was at Oregon, I'd favor them. Close one, sit on the fence. That game's going to be, a 3-point spread, depending on how we see Oregon coming at. A field goal, pick them. I'm going to take the Trojans because it's at home, and defense, Gary Patterson's defense will be the difference, and it will be all focused on making sure that Dante Moore doesn't have the type of game that he wants to have.
Yeah, and we'll see how Oregon, who is going to lose some players, but also has a lot of young offensive players that are coming back. That
a lot of speed.
And a lot of speed. So, all right, then moving on, you get your big game at home against Washington, another West Coast rival, former Pac-12 team with you. You get maybe Damon Williams is still the quarterback at this point. That story, we'll just have to wait and see how that works throughout the year. But obviously, signs, leaves, and now comes back because of all the controversy surrounding the leaving. How do you feel about them against this Washington team early on?
Now, we're at home on this one, or is it on the road?
Yes, home.
Yeah, home. I've played in that building a bunch at UW, and it's hard, man. It's one of the more underrated buildings to play in.
Yeah,
I would favor Washington there, coming into our building with it. And I'm trying everything I can not to play homer, Segs. The first 6 games are pretty favorable because of where they're located. You're talking about those games you just mentioned. More than likely, right now, think about it, Segs. 2 on the road, maybe 1 at a neutral site and 2 on the road, depending on 0 week. I don't know what they're going to do with that. I don't know how
it looks like it'll be home.
Right, because it's North Dakota State. They come there, you pay them.
Play.
Right.
Like
that's what I meant.
Australia
somewhere else.
Something crazy.
Right, exactly. Yeah, playing in Ireland or something. So, Segs, I like the Trojans here. It's going to get tougher, but if they have 1 loss, I'd understand it. But there's a really good look. Oregon gets in the way. Washington's a hell of a program. That they should be sitting here undefeated at this point because it's favorable as far as the schedule early and home games.
All right. Then you move into the tough stretch of the season. And I mean, this stretch continues with Oregon and Washington. Those will be 2 tough games. But now you got to travel cross country again up to Pennsylvania to take on Penn State and the new Nittany Lions led by Matt Campbell and company. This will probably, we don't have a time on this game. Times always come closer to the season. But if this is a night game, it's a whiteout.
And a whiteout,
Penn State, that, those games are tricky. But this is a Penn State team that's coming off a down year, a lot of changes, a lot of moving parts when it comes to transfer portal, kids leaving, all this stuff. I think I would feel kind of pretty good for going into Happy Valley and taking on this Nittany Lions based on where they sit right now.
There's no doubt. I would they were so overrated last year. That was part of those teams that we were naming that was overrated, had high national championship expectations, and they couldn't get out of their own way, and they were not good. A quarterback didn't play well. They go through. I believe Matt Campbell's impact will be felt. I just don't think it'll be felt the way he expects it to in 2026. Tough place to play. You saw Indiana get stretched to the nth degree and kill that last drive. Trojans are better, more athletic, more team speed. USC goes in there and wins. Should still be, when I say should be, that Oregon and Washington, but having it home. I would understand if there's a loss. There won't be more than one loss at this point in the season. Give me the Trojans against Penn State. Penn State, now if this was 2027 and Matt Campbell had been there 2 years, look a little different. They're trying to get their situation settled and make sure they're organized. The Trojans are far more talented than Penn State right now. Give me USC on the road.
And then you have you're traveling to Camp Randall to take on Wisconsin. There's a chance at this point in the season that Luke Fickell is – I had him on the hot seat last year. I thought he should have been out at Wisconsin. There's a chance that his seat is burning or even a change is made at this point in the season, depending on how Wisconsin responds this year. And, again, just like going to Happy Valley, this is the time you want to go there when they're coming off this rough season. Same thing for Wisconsin, where they're not where we normally relate Wisconsin to when it comes to football and having to travel to Camp Randall.
Just USC's key, just don't play into their – I don't know, and I like Luke Fickell, but I don't know how he survives this season. I don't think they're very good, Segs. Right. I mean, they'll be physical. They'll try to run it, but as long as we don't play into their game, match them where they get to control the ball and you're a bunch of 3-and-outs and give them short fields. The quarterback situation, it's amazing how you go to Wisconsin and they just can't find that guy it's always something different and always a problem. It just is. Whether it's an injury, poor performance, always a problem. I'll be honest with you. Stay on the perimeter and stay away from their strength. I don't think the game's close. I wouldn't have said that 5 years ago, but it's different now, or 10 years ago. Give me the Trojans in this one, and I don't think it's going to be that difficult as long as you don't kill yourself.
Biggest game
at the most, they're one loss or undefeated at this point.
And let me make sure this is right. Yeah, so after Penn State, they get a bye. Then they go to Wisconsin. And then you got the biggest game of the season. You got the Ohio State Buckeyes, Ryan Day, Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith, and all this talent that they have. Even losing what they're going to lose to the NFL draft, they're still going to bring a ton of talent to LA, and they're going to try and beat you in your house. And I think this is the game we will look at and say, this game and the Oregon game, and then the next game we talk about are the three games where it's like USC needs to show up, they need to play physical, and you can beat these teams.
And you know what's interesting, Segs, about this? We talk about a tough schedule, but this is a favorable tough schedule for USC. Yeah. I mean, to me, Oregon tough, Washington tough. Yes, Oregon, Washington, and Ohio State in your own building,
all at home.
Come on now, man. But I'm telling you right now, Segs, just for trying to keep it real. Quarterback who's really good against that quarterback, team speed for them. There's a lot to like. Very similar, Segs. Athletic with speed, or can punish you running the ball. Now, we know Ohio State's offensive line moves it. SC's got their guys come back. They're going to commit to running the ball. This is going to be a phenomenal game. Give me Ohio State in this one. I'll just say Ohio State comes in and beats them. We'll take that loss. So they got one loss on this. But when people say it's a brutal schedule, it's really not. As you look at the rest of the schedule, 3 difficult games all in your own building. You want to get fired? Lose 2 of them.
And I think why it looks so difficult, but it's something we just talked about. It's that Penn State and Wisconsin are coming off down years, and those are your road games, your big road games, besides the next game we're going to talk about, that you get those 2 teams on the road at the right time. If this was normal Penn State, normal Wisconsin, now you're talking about a murderer's row of Oregon, Washington, Penn State, Wisconsin, Ohio State. And then after Ohio State, you got to go travel to Bloomington to take on the reigning national champions. Now they don't have Fernando Mendoza, but Kurt Signetti, who just got another extension today and more money added to his contract today, are going to be waiting there in Bloomington in another massive matchup in a 2-week span where you're playing arguably the 2 best teams in football, the 2 latest national champions you face in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Shanks, who do you think is going to be tougher? And I'll answer your question. Who do you think is going to be tougher? Ohio State at home or Indiana on the road?
Let me ask you this. Game? Are you talking tougher in terms of physicality and what they're going to bring?
No, I'm talking
or just
tougher to beat.
Overall, just
tougher to beat. Tougher to beat.
I would still say Ohio State, just because.
Me too.
I think just the type of play Julian Sayin in his second year, I think is going to explode. They're going to be tough to beat, and this is coming from a Michigan fan. I think Julian Sayin has been the best quarterback Ohio State's had in a few years. And I think his second year is going to explode even more. And Jeremiah Smith is going to be, fighting for that Heisman Trophy. He's going to be fighting for that number 1 pick in the draft, even as a wide receiver. I think Ohio State will be the tougher route, but traveling to Bloomington is going to be tough.
Segs, and I'm sitting here trying to think, okay, where's Indiana at this point? Losing the 3rd year in a row, they'll be with their 3rd starting quarterback, and they have been to the playoff twice. Can they continue this magic of who'd they get in the portal? Segs, Signetti's awesome. Who'd they get for the quarterback? Do we remember?
Josh Hoover from TCU.
That's right. That's TCU. That's good player.
Yep.
Segs, in any other year, I'd be saying, are you really telling me this is again? We're going to Bloomington, dude. We're kicking their ass.
Right.
The fact that if they beat Ohio, put it this way, they're losing one of those, SC is, Ohio State or Indiana. If they get beat by Ohio State, I feel good about Indiana. If they curb stomp Ohio State, I'm not sure I feel too good, because you rolled that possibly undefeated. You're going into it and thinking, well, when does this magic wear off? And hell, Indiana may be undefeated this time. I'm going to say favorite will be Indiana. The Trojans can go win that game until Hoover proves that he can do what Mendoza did. Segs, to continue this run would be unbelievable for Indiana. Through all this, 1 loss when you get to Maryland. How's that?
Okay.
How's that?
I like it. I like
1
it.
loss when you get to Maryland.
They're down. They're not, they're not as good as they've been even in the last couple years. So I think Maryland, you got to feel comfortable with at this point.
They're not losing to Maryland, and they're not losing to UCLA, and I don't give a shit where they play them.
Yeah,
they're going to kick their ass.
Game,
okay.
UCLA.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, if you're talking a 1 loss,
maximum 2, Segs, max
okay.
2. You may get an Oregon, Washington, Indiana, one of those to steal one. This team at the end of the year has 10 wins, max 2 losses, possibly 1 loss. And you know what's missing from that schedule, Segs? What's missing from that schedule? Tell me what's missing from that schedule.
Michigan.
Well, how about Notre Dame?
Scared.
It's embarrassing, dude.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I'm looking at a USC schedule that doesn't have Notre Dame on there wants me to throat punch both people, any of the people who made the decision. You're going through it and you're saying one of these things is not like the other. And it's a bummer because, well, then I'd say that now the schedule gets a little tougher. If Notre Dame's on there instead of one of the other ones like a Fresno State or something. So 2 loss max, 1 loss, very possible. And it'll come in that Ohio State, Washington, Indiana area.
Okay. I like that. I think.
And they will be in the playoff.
Yeah. A 1-loss team, a 1-loss USC puts them in the Big Ten championship game, which
there's no doubt
is a lock.
A 2-loss still will keep them in the playoffs, Segs.
Yes.
With that schedule.
Agree. Yep. All right. Moving on to the Houston Texans. Sean, this popped up. Bailey put this up, and I was like, yes, because I wanted to ask this yesterday, and I completely forgot, even when we were talking about the trade scenarios with CJ Stroud. I tweeted about this when I first saw it, and Cleveland Browns guard Wyatt Teller says he is leaving Cleveland. He's done. He's a free agent. He is not coming back to the Browns. I said this has to be priority number 1 for the Houston Texans. Wyatt Teller is one of the best offensive guards in football. You just said it, though. He is nasty. He is mean. He is exactly what you want to play with. He's the exact type of player that the head coach would want.
Well, if I'm a quarterback coach, a quarterback and coordinator, anybody playing in the street, playing in mud, playing on grass, and it permeates through the rest of the guys. When a guy walks in like that and he's nasty, everybody says, I either got to be nasty or get left behind and called a pussy. Yeah. This dude right here is at 6-7 years in the league, Seg, so he's got plenty of legs left in him. I'm with you. Nasty aside, you got to have some skill set. But nasty will take you to a whole new level with me. And I don't know a guy in the world that wouldn't want Wyatt Teller on his team, and I am with you 100%.
Yeah, whatever he's asking, get within 2% of it, and you get this deal locked in day 1 of free agency, and then you go look for another one, because we'll see. I think Patterson being the center, I think, is a guy that can stay there. I think he can be your center, as he took the job from or no, I'm mixing it up. Andrews took the job from Patterson. Yeah. Patterson, you're going to cut most likely and get rid of that cap hit. Jake Andrews is the guy, I think, younger, but I think gets it. And I think he can be your center moving forward, at least for this upcoming season. Go get yourself 2 guards. You got Ursary at left tackle. Hopefully he builds on his
a young, really good player. Say
yes. And now we'll see. I don't know that he's a true left tackle. I think he might be better suited.
They tried to force feed him that early on. Last year
because you had Trent Brown, who is not a left tackle. He's a right tackle, and you wanted to get the young kid on the field, so you put him there. Fine, and you may have to switch at some point, but they need to go out there and get 2 offensive linemen that are nasty, and Wyatt Teller would be my number 1 target if I'm the Houston Texans.
Agreed. Segs, when this happened, the first thing that I thought was overpay him if you have to get him, even if it takes a little extra, because once again, it'll change the offensive line. And you keep all these names you mentioned, Segs, the one thing it's all in common is the constant, what's that thing, whack-a-mole, moving pieces all the time. That's been a problem for them. If they haven't settled in, you mentioned Titus Howard, right tackle, left guard, left tackle. I mean, everywhere. You got to find a troop. Now, it's great to have a guy who can be a swing guard or tackle, play both ways, and play right tackle, left tackle, and do them efficiently. Hell, you got your guy Tooney, who was playing one position, comes over, plays another, and dominate. You know what I'm saying, Seg? So there's guys who can do it. But when you're young, like a Ursary guy, you want to get them comfortable playing a position without burdening them. And if you have to help them, you help them. And that's been a big problem, is continuity at one position, dominating and hope to stay healthy. Bringing a guy like Teller in not only solidifies where he's playing and what he's doing, but hopefully can, boom, obviously at depth, but get a sense of nastiness with him, and hopefully it carries over to the rest of the guys. But try to find the continuity that has 5 guys in their comfortable position where you're not forcing a square peg in a round hole or crowbarring a guy in that when he gets in his stance doesn't feel comfortable playing it. That's got to be a top target. And Segs, think what that would do for the draft for the Texans. No trades or anything if they didn't trade. If you could take Teller without giving up something other than cash and pencil him in, think what it does for you come late April when you can draft. And if you want to go get another guy with draft picks or work the board, fine. Wyatt Teller would be and there's going to be competition, so you might have to overpay, and I'm all for it for the Texans.
Yeah, and I'll throw one more guy at you. And now the Texans are like $4.5-ish million over the cap at the moment. Now, obviously,
easy to maneuver,
restructuring and cutting players and all that. But Rasheed Walker, the left tackle from the Packers, he's hitting free agency. I would be all over him as well. And if you can take Ursary, now move him to the right side because Trent Brown's a free agent. Now maybe he's probably in a better spot for him. Rasheed Walker's been the left tackle for the Packers for the last 3 years. He's been really good. Dealt with some injuries, but you add Walker and Teller, now all of a sudden, now you got a line that CJ Stroud is going to feel comfortable behind. You've got a line that your running backs are going to love running behind. And, there might even be a third guy that you can go get at the right guard position. Yeah. And so this is something that has to be priority number 1 for the Houston.
Well, it has to be priority number 1 and probably priority number 2.
Yes.
Because when you think about this, now what's the weakness?
Right.
There is no defensive weakness on this team. There is not. The defensive weakness is they have to carry the offense on their back too often. Yeah. 2 young receivers from Iowa State, getting Tank Dell back. Nico Collins, who continues to establish himself as one of the monsters. Your guy from Michigan, a player, right, Segs? Yep. Now, and then I saw the tight end position elevate for them, Segs, and there's still another level. They blocked a little better at the edge with the right tight end, the kid from Ohio State that CJ wanted to bring in. Why, it's still is it Stover?
Cade Stover.
Right. Cade Stover, who did some good things and along with it. And Dalton Schultz elevated as a pass catcher again because it felt like the new coordinator realizes how important it is to have that crutch for a quarterback to lean on in certain situations. And that's got to get better. So you know where the weakness is, and it shouldn't be a weakness because he's not a weakness. You get continuity offensive line and commit and having that running game that they started to develop again last year, Segs, with my Trojan coming in there and making his plays and as a Woody Marks and making great plays inside and outside with wiggle out of the backfield. You discovered something. You said, okay, that guy is a monster. Where's the weakness? You know what the weakness is? Getting Stroud back to the way he was as a rookie. And it feels like that should be easier than getting the offensive line sewn back up. Now you get Teller. You've answered questions in free agency. Now the bonus is the draft, Segs. If you go out and get the 2 guys you're talking about, And in truth, if that's where I got to spend my money, guess what? I'm okay with it because they haven't done enough of it there. And the guys they haven't worked out continuity or success-wise.
Well,
it's time for them to make a big commitment to that position on the offensive line, and I'm okay with more than one of them.
Look at what the Chicago Bears did. Look what they did in Ben Johnson's first year. They went and got Joe Tooney that you mentioned. They traded for him. They went and signed Drew Dahlman in free agency, who was a great center, and they traded for Jonah Jackson. They shored up the interior in 3 moves. They have Darnell Wright at right tackle. It allowed them to go get Colston Loveland at 10 and not have to worry about.
And he is a friggin' beast.
Yes, it allowed them to go get Luther Burden in the second round as the best player available. Even if they didn't need him per se at that moment, it allowed them to go do that. And then they drafted, because they had 2 second rounders, they drafted Ozzie Trapillo, who ended up looking like your left tackle of the future before he got injured. So it allowed them to go best player available, and that's what the Texans need to do.
Segs, you know what the great thing about this, when you are smart in free agency and have a fairly loaded team, but you get a couple pieces in free agency that are going to start for you. The draft, you know what the worst thing about drafting, being around and talking to people and seeing it, when you draft with desperation, it doesn't work because you do stuff and you're like, well, you start, you what if yourself to death instead of pure plan. Listen, here's the way I look at a good off season, Segs. That if your team, your roster, you trim the fat but keep the core and pay and get yourself in position. You go get a left tackle from Green Bay. You go get a Wyatt Teller. Mm-hmm. You pay them and get them penciled in. Now the draft, Segs, I like a team that before the draft is solid. The draft's the bonus, not the chase, right? Yeah, you get a first round, second round, then you start adding pieces. It can be studs, which allows you to free up a 9-year veteran who maybe is overpaid and you can move him. I don't want going into the draft where if we don't get this guy, we're screwed. I want to go into the draft that, dude, we're good. Teller's here. We don't need that position. It's a bonus if we get that position. Or if we added another linebacker or added a different safety or we needed another receiver. When you go into it without desperation, the whole flow of a draft and your offseason changes. And there's bodies sitting out there right now that can already shape your draft.
Yeah.
Pay them, get in the fray, don't bullshit. See, you're operating on hope if you go in and try to draft a Wyatt Teller in the draft. You're operating on no when you go get Wyatt Teller and pay him now.
100%. All right, well, when we come back, we're going to talk Bears mayor is pissed, as he should be. And then Kenny Dillingham. We talked about Kenny Dillingham back when he was maybe going to take the Michigan job, and he kind of talked about NIL. Well, he made an announcement today or yesterday about a new donor to Arizona State. So we'll talk about all of that. But before
by
that,
the way, did Malachi Tonia, did you see his deal, Segs, his NIL thing?
Well, yeah.
Is that true or is that a lie?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look into it. I saw it real quickly and I was doing something. I wasn't sure. I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, I've just got to check because if it's real, we all need to go back to college and be stars.
Yes.
Good on him. Get back to your point, brother.
But yes, first, before we talk about all that stuff, tell me about Augusta Precious Metals.
Gold. All right. It's all about Augusta Precious Metals, your premier gold IRA company. Let me say this real quick, and I'm not trying to be dramatic here. The other day, I'm at the grocery store buying the same stuff I always do, and I'm looking at the bill like, come on, man. Higher than last month again? What is this, Groundhog Day? Same groceries, same bills, and it's been happening for years now. A month after month after month after month, just higher and higher. You start asking yourself, how high can this keep going? Because it's not stopping. Stop, please. And that's what really worries me about retirement savings. It's not just like the number on paper. It's what the money can actually buy, the value. If groceries and bills keep climbing, that same retirement savings doesn't go nearly as far as it used to. You can have the same balance and still be falling behind. That's why a lot of people with real retirement savings are diversifying, part of it into physical gold, not just to chase returns, just to protect what they've already earned. I looked into this myself, and Augusta Precious Metals stood out big time like a flashing neon sign. No pressure, no scare tactics, just straight education. This stays inside your IRA or 401k. No taxes, no penalties. It's Augusta Precious Metals. Get the free gold IRA guide at SeanBuysGold.com. Don't miss this great party. SeanBuysGold.com or text Sean, SEAN, to 35052 or click the link in the description below. It's a difference maker. It's a life changer, and 2026 can be your moving year towards understanding gold and precious metals as well as silver. It is SeanBuysGold.com. That's SeanBuysGold.com. SeanBuysGold.com. Augusta Precious Metals.
Go get yourself.
Thanks, real quick. Yeah, got to get some gold. Silver, too. On the rise. It's going to be another big year in the precious metals business. Okay, the Ringer. If only at shot, I made a point. He must be, I don't know, he's talking about, because we said about Pritzker that I'm not a big pre. This must be a political post. I don't know. I don't give a shit anyway. But if only at Sean Unfiltered knew what he was talking about. Illinois wants to charge them the highest rate of any stadium in the USA. It's Illinois' fault, not the Bears. By the way, did you know Pritzker got $180 million? Fuck Pritzker, by the way. $180 million in tax breaks on bill. He doesn't have the city of, or the city of Chicago and that state's best interest. Everything to me is not about money. My point about not going to, first of all, we can argue Pritzker all you want. You like him, I don't. So we can stop that right there. On the football part of it, I'm for the fans. And we can argue all about Pritzker and what he means to you and what Gavin Newsom means to California and go all that stuff. I respect anybody who's got opinion. I don't have to value it. There you go. Number two is my talk about the Bears, me and about 8 billion others talk about the Bears going to Indiana is blasphemous. You can figure out the capologist. You can be the city and state's capologist and how much money tax breaks. I'm talking about fans and the Chicago Bears history leaving to go to Indiana from the Chicago Bears. You're right. I'm not in Pritzker's building, and I'm not doing their tax breaks and everything else. I just know this. The Chicago Bears will not be in Indiana if anybody has a brain. I know it's not the Bears' fault. It may be the state's fault, or it's not I don't care whose fault it is. The bottom line is I'm just looking at it from a fan's point of view. I have a hard time saying, hey, welcome to the Indiana Bears playing the Indianapolis Colts. So you can, there's nothing wrong. He's trying, I guess, to defend Pritzker. Great, defend him. I don't really give a shit. I don't live there and have to deal with that crap, just like I don't live in California anymore where I grew up and have to deal with Gavin Newsom's stupidity, or go to New York while they're laying down and giving prayer calls in the middle of it. I'll send my doggone pit bulls in there. So I don't really care. You do what you want. I'm in Texas. I don't have to fucking deal with all that nonsense. Yeah. And I still love you and I still respect you, but I don't have to value somebody's opinion about Governor Pritzker. So do whatever you want, and he may be great to you. I'm just simply talking football and the fans. So have at it with all you want. And if I knew what I was talking, I do know what I'm talking about. Hail to places like this where we don't have to kneel down in the middle of the street and, people are doing their thing, okay, without being forced to do something they don't want to do.
If that guy listened yesterday, I mentioned that. I said that Illinois is trying to get them to pay, it's roughly $40 million a year in just the real estate tax. And the tax, SoFi Stadium, for example, pays like $7.5 million. Illinois wants the Bears to pay almost 5 times more than what the Rams are Stan
Kroenke simply, and I'm not even doing the financial decision. I'm just talking about the fans' emotion.
Right. Oh, 100%. But I brought that up and I said Illinois is starting to walk that back now because of this Indiana deal. They're also walking the infrastructure part where Illinois said they wouldn't pay for any infrastructure, the sewers, the electrical, the plumbing, everything, all that. They wouldn't pay for anything when it comes to that Arlington Heights site or anywhere in Chicago for that matter. They're walking that back. So Kevin Warren, while it's taking longer than Bears fans, me included, wanted it to go, like I thought they should have a structure built already, in my opinion. But sometimes the politics don't work in your favor, and you got to make some moves to get it to where you want it to be. And that's what Kevin Warren has done for the Chicago Bears. And that's why I still think today we're at 75% plus that stadium is built there in Arlington Heights, Illinois. And that's where Bears fans will be going in a few years when that stadium opens. But Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, who's, I don't know how this is possible, but he's a bigger dumbass than J.B. Pritzker when it comes to politics. He's dumber. Pritzker's he's rich and he doesn't, he wants to protect his money. Brandon Johnson's just a moron when he talks and you just listen. You're like, what the fuck did this guy just say? Here's what he had to say, getting emotional about the Bears possibly leaving Chicago. But here's what Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, had to say.
Face straight. Okay. All right. Keep a straight face here. The Bears belong in the city of Chicago. The Chicago Bears belong in the city of Chicago, right? And I've said repeatedly that the door is always open for conversations, and Kevin Warren did call me yesterday. We didn't get a chance to connect, and I still firmly believe that their best position is in Chicago, and it's evidence. The evidence is clearly speaking for itself.
Sean, you can always come talk to me, Sean. But when you tried to reach out to me today, we didn't connect. We didn't talk. How stupid are you to say my door's always open, I'm always ready for a conversation, and then the next sentence say, yeah, Kevin Warren of the Bears reached out to me and we didn't connect. We couldn't work it,
Right.
Our schedule. Like what?
So
first of all, and second of all, you can say it all you want that you want the Bears to be in Chicago and they should be in Chicago, and I agree with that sentiment. But again, the city of Chicago wasn't willing to do what was necessary to keep the Bears in Soldier Field, or at least in that part of the city where they had opportunities to build a stadium, a true stadium, and work it around Soldier Field, because that is protected in the state of Illinois. The Soldier Field, like the pillars and the main part of the stadium. Now, like the spaceship looking part, that's all new. That can all go away, and you can build around the structure and build yourself a dome. They had mocks drawn up, but the city of Chicago wouldn't do what was necessary to help the Bears do it. And that's why they're moving to Arlington Heights or Northwest Indiana.
Segs, and well said by you. The all-important money grab, right? It just doesn't fail, and you're not on the same page. I love it when, the Bears are an institution there, and the state, it simply has zero to do. And in truth, it doesn't matter what anybody tells you when it comes to politics and money, Segs. They don't care about you. They don't care in California. They don't. They care about one thing: their bottom line, not you. You know what I'm saying? The fan. I understand the taxes and all that, and why, and this and that. The bottom line is, how does it even get to this point? I guess is what I'm saying, Segs. How? Bad leadership and money on either side. Correct?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the Bears ownership deserves a lot of blame in this as well.
Well, there's both sides deserve blame, but the fact of the matter is, I don't care. Grown-ups can't sit at a conference room table and get things settled. I want you to think about, okay, if you think it's good tax purposes to move and get to Indiana and the Bears and the state of Illinois, but now I want you to think about the negative side if they do move, Segs. What is the long-term ramifications for that city, whether it's financial and or just pure history, and for the Bears? What happens if the Bears are playing in Indiana, that city? Anything, or do you guys just go at? You live there. I mean, I love the fans. It's a great sports town. I don't even know how. Does Walter Payton come out of the grave and say, "Don't do it"? I mean, what are we doing?
He might. You might have Ditka, who's not doing very well. He might stand up and start yelling at you. You might have, Mike Singletary pull his pants down and scream at you like he did the San Francisco 49ers. But yeah, it would be weird. And again, like I said yesterday, the place they're talking about, first of all, I saw a video of someone that lives there in Hammond that deals with this kind of stuff. He like building buildings and stuff like that. He said the lot they're talking about in Hammond, Indiana is smaller than that little section that Soldier Field is on. So I don't know how they would build this state-of-the-art stadium with all these bars and restaurants around it. There's an oil refinery
with less time, right? Yeah,
next to
it. Not a good place to be. Segs.
No,
oil refinery next to a steakhouse. No, I don't think so. A little zoning would help.
Yes, so it's just the idea of the Chicago Bears in Indiana, like you're talking about, just
that's my whole
thing.
Sense.
It will piss a lot of people off. And will Bears fans say, well, I'm not going to be a fan of the team? Sure, they will. Will they be a fan of the team? Of course they will. But
you've taken away what's there, Segs. You've taken away what's kind of there. It's like changing the name of your alma mater, right? It's weird.
Right.
Let me say one other thing, Segs. As you've heard me say millions of times, and I will again, I've said it about everything when it comes to contracts from pros, ticket prices, what you pay for a beer and a hot dog. Do you know who never gets a seat at the table? Never. Or the fan. Oh, we care about the fans. Give them a seat at the table. Well, Sean, what do you mean? Should they make it? You know what? I just always said if you're going to have everybody involved, have a representative for everybody involved, right? When there's a divorce, what happens, Segs? Lawyers are there and both parties are there. When there's a decision made on you buying or selling a company, both parties are there. Got to sign, all the things that go with it. In this case, everybody's making decisions except who? In everything, this goes up, you get no say. And guess what? Eventually, we're there now. You're going to be paying $30 for a 12-ounce beer somewhere. The fans in these situations never, oh, man, you can't leave us. Well, we love you. This is for you. And they're like, fuck you. Same for us. What'd you do? You offering us $1 hot dogs? Yeah, one day a week at a baseball game. Other than that, we raise the price. It costs you $74 for 2 hot dogs, 2 beers, and a baseball cap.
Yeah.
Which I'm probably cheating. It's probably a lot more than that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's $125. Yeah, no doubt. So they never get a seat at the table. Leadership's tough, Segs. If you didn't think, go look at in Charlotte. I was watching the video when the Charlotte chief of police, I believe, he's let's see, Sheriff Gary, is it Jerry or Gary McFadden? I think it's Gary. They asked him the 3 branches of government and which branch he was. He'd been in office for years. He had no idea. Look it up. I didn't know whether to laugh. I tweeted, I made a comment in the tweet. I didn't know whether to laugh at it like it's an SNL skit.
Yeah.
Or think that we should be afraid to death that around the country, we got in all different places leadership that doesn't know how they got the job and what branch of government they are. And they're in the fucking job. Yeah. When you say, go ahead and look it up. Tell me if I'm wrong. Do you know when you and I learned about the 3 branches of government? You know when they taught it to you?
Yeah, what was that? 5th grade, I think.
3rd to the 5th grade. It was no later than the 5th grade, and then you got it deeper into it when you're like in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. 3rd to the 5th grade is when you knew the 3 branches of government. And the guy then admitted, okay, here are the 3 branches of government. Which one are you? I serve the people of whatever city, he said, Sean. I'm like, dude, and the guy goes, I didn't know this was basically going to be the roadblock coming to this today. The guy was there. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. Remember what you learned in the 3rd grade, buddy. Just remember.
You would probably make up a branch.
Yes.
Probably like, I'm the police branch. Like, that's not a thing.
I'm the branch on that pine tree. Oh, no. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about branches. We're not talking about a branch you kick on the ground. We're not talking about Cliff Branch, the wide receiver. We're not talking about Dion Branch. We're not talking about branch off or branches at church and ranch and branch. We're not talking about. We're simply talking about the government and which one are you? I'm fascinated by it. If that's the way it is around the country, Segs, and a lot of leadership and government positions, you're screwed. And then so am I. So there you go.
Real quick before we move on, Bailey has some pictures of Hammond, Indiana, and I mean.
Ladies and gentlemen, the home of your Chicago Indiana Bears. There you go.
Indiana Bears. I think I like Hammond Bears more. Just make them Hammond.
Dude, it hits, right? It hits
look at that. Screw the Sears Tower or Willis Tower in the back. Screw, Trump Tower. Screw Prudential Plaza. Screw all that stuff in the background or Lake Michigan. Like, let's just have this
historic buildings right there, Segs. Don't hate.
I mean, and an oil refinery. I mean, if you got an oil refinery, I mean, at least there we would feel comfortable as Bears fans because there's road construction going on. Because near Chicago, there's construction going on all the fucking time.
But have you ever noticed when they fix a street like that in Chicago? It's the same thing here in Houston, Segs. You live here. What they do is they'll fix the street, and when they get to the end of the street, by the time they get to the end of the street, they make a U-turn and come on back and do the same fucking street, because by the time they get to the end, what they fixed in the first place sucks ass anyway. Yeah. If you're driving a Porsche, which I don't, I'm driving a truck, the suspension on and anything on your vehicle that's sitting low to the ground, you just got to buy one. It's disposable $150,000, $200,000 vehicles if you're crazy enough in our city and your city to do that. And the truck, it's nuts, dude. And didn't they just fix Westheimer? Yeah, they've been working on Westheimer for 27 years here. Now they're on the 28th. I
had a Buick SUV. I can't remember the name of what, Enclave, I think. One of the bigger ones with the 3rd row seating, and the struts went out in under 2 years because I drove on Westheimer, like you're talking about.
Hell yes.
I drove on I-10 where it's just potholes and you hit. and finally they just give out and your car's bouncing like crazy.
2 years in, Segs, you probably milked it to extra 6 months out of it.
Oh yeah.
It's a true story. So what's next? Are they moving Wrigley Field too? Why don't we just do that? Who cares,
I think
right?
we're
and
just
let's
gonna
throw
move
Fenway
everything.
Park. Let's throw Fenway Park into Rhode Island. Let's just do that. How about
I
that?
think everything should just go to
Take it by a
Hammond,
casino.
Indiana.
Yeah, agreed.
Everything. All
Matter of fact,
sports.
we're going to build our studios for Unpaved in Hammond, Indiana.
Yes.
There you
all
go.
sports are just going to be located in Hammond, Indiana. Every professional
not?
sports team.
When in doubt, go to Hammond.
Yeah.
Right?
When in doubt, go to Hammond. Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. We talked about him possibly taking the Michigan job, and he went on a rant during all that time, but talking about Arizona State, how they needed NIL help. He thinks he can make them a really good team, but you got to keep up with the Joneses. You saw Texas Tech, what they were able to do. You saw Indiana spent some money on NIL. They became national champions in 2 years. You think you have the right coach in Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State, and I agree. That's why I wanted him at Michigan. But he comes out and he reveals something recently about an NIL donor. Let's go ahead and show the video of that.
Today we released the renderings for the new indoor, the up-to-date renderings. I know it got approved.
Nice.
You know, I went on a rant about a 8-figure donor one day, and
Who's stroking that check?
Yeah.
we got somebody very close to that to help with the indoor already. Somebody who's not naturally associated with the program, but somebody associated with the Valley for that indoor. So that's trending in the right direction. That got approved for the indoor. It's going to be one of the largest indoors in the country. It's going to have a 50-yard football field and a 100-yard field with 2 indoors in one indoor. So it's about 180 to 190-yard indoor facility, which is going to be unbelievable for the football team and for the tailgating and the fun and the experience. Maybe able to host youth football championship games in there because you have your practice field to warm up. Like, there's so many different things that we're going to be able to do with this. I expect it to be fun.
Yes.
I expect people to show up to have air conditioning in September and October at 2 in the afternoon. And I expect it to be, like I want to say, it's a mix between tailgating and sports barring. Can we create, which is kind of what the Waste Management Open is you're kind of mixing tailgating and sports barring together. How can we create that mixture of tailgating and sports barring at the same time, because it's air conditioned, in a place where you can bring friends, family, and it's kind of the place to be. Like, that's where you gather on Saturdays.
Can I, I'm a little confused about one thing. They're practicing there. They're not playing their games there.
I was confused by that too. When he started talking about sports barring and said sports barring, like,
are they going to come in and start throwing? Are they going to start keggers inside their practice facility? I get what listen. If the renderings are off the charts, man. Trust me, as I've told you a million times, I shredded my knee twice on the outdoor facility. So build an indoor stadium for all you want if it's for the games, because I love that place, but I haven't had real good success health-wise with 2 shredded knees on Arizona State's field. But Kenny, I get what he's doing, man. Air conditioning, he doesn't want it. But it's going to be air conditioned for your family and recruits and people come in. I don't think the Waste Management people are going to come in drinking beer and throwing shit at you while you're practicing.
Maybe.
They're going to play their game in the stadium. So I'm a little lost. I love the donor giving 8 figures. It's great. But, Segs, a destination spot, are you are we having a party during practice? They're usually closed and private, and you let family or once a media in. They're not playing their games there. So what am I missing here through all this?
I think he's just trying to say that it's going to be huge for the football team, have all that practice space, indoors, air condition. And then
have a bar
maybe
there?
There's another, maybe that little small part of it that's sticking off the front. Maybe they're putting a bar restaurant in there.
I know this.
Used for tailgating.
I've been to the Frisco one that Jerry built. The indoor UC small college games, high school championships in there.
Yep.
I've been a coordinator for the All-American game in there for 2 years. Great facility. I get that part where you can rent it out to Pop Warner and to youth football and to have events in there, no doubt, for those. Now, if he's talking about that's where it's a partying thing, not for his team, because if he's talking about the partying for, like, you having a high school All-American game or the high school state championships in there, whatever it might be. But that's where his team practices. So when they're not practicing, I get it. But on game day, they're going to be tailgating around, unless you're turning bars into that. They're going to use that as also part of the tailgate. But
Maybe
they're not going to be inside there watching the game. They're not going to play their games there. They're playing their games at their open air stadium. So I get what he's saying, but I think to clear it up for Kenny, who I like, we'll practice there, and maybe on other events that are there, it'll be like the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Cool. But for the game, they will not be playing indoors at 2 o'clock on a Saturday in September. They'll be playing outdoors at a 70,000 seat stadium at Sun Devil Stadium.
Yeah. I think it'll be a party like always at Arizona State.
No doubt. And Tempe's at the top of the list, my brother. Tempe's at the top of the list.
A school not too far from Arizona State we talked about earlier this week after they got their ass kicked by Michigan State, and Mick Cronin threw a kid off the court after what was deemed a flagrant foul, a hard foul, a dirty play, and he threw himself. He threw his player out himself. Well, Mick responded today and kind of talked about that. And I have not heard the video. I've kind of read a little bit of what he said, but here's Mick Cronin responding to the Steven Jamerson hard foul the other night against Michigan State.
Okay. I thought that he took the guy out like the kid at Providence took the guy from St. John's out. It's the only reason I sent him to the locker room. I thought he literally made a dirty play and tried to wipe the guy out. Now, I don't have the film. Once I saw the film, I mean, he still got an F1. To be honest with you, I don't even know if he deserved that. When I watched it, Coach Iz thought the same thing when I communicated with him. But I thought he tried to wipe the guy out, which to me, that's a bad play. Like, you can't be down 25, you're getting your butt kicked. Don't try to take somebody out, hurt somebody on the other team, which is what I thought. Now, I'm short, I was blocked, I'm on the other end. Obviously, their reaction, I thought he tried to crush this kid. I think it was Coop. So anyway, I apologize to Steve, So it gives me a chance to tell you guys what a great guy Steve is. Now, he asked me for $10,000 more in NIL because of that. But I told him I'd try to give him another commercial. So I don't know if you guys know, Steve's got a commercial. Steve's on a commercial?
Didn't know. Which brand?
You got to ask him. I should have asked before I came in here. It's a wild story. It's for good for recruiting. He was in Westwood getting lunch. And literally, they were shooting a commercial, and that guy, he's a good-looking kid. Like, we don't have a lot of them, like me, Steve, and a few other guys that are, can be in commercials. And they asked him because I'm sitting at home, and I'm like, yeah, that's Steve. I don't know if it's like a Experience?
Damn.
What is that?
Credit reporting.
Mick does not have a future in comedy because both his jokes fell flat. He was
trying to say, well, only a few of us could do commercials. Meaning,
nobody even snickered.
Right? They were like, was he being serious? That he's really the only one.
And then he had to explain it. If you have to explain your joke, it's not good.
Got to move on from the joke. Segs with that.
What we were saying.
Yes. What do you do? Watch our show. Right. Yeah. You tell your players to be under control. And he's right. You go in there trying to butcher somebody down 25 points or 23 points. I get it. But not only does he owe him an apology, he probably does owe him $10,000 for making him look like the bad guy at NIL money, making him look like the bad guy. When normally a coach would applaud the effort for a guy that looked like he tried to go and make a block. It got a little physical, but there was nothing. He didn't go down, didn't shove the guy. Right. Trying to make a hustle play, which Mick Cronin, his whole career has been about hustle and playing that kind of nasty, good basketball. And I get, the truth, Segs, however, this Cronin was frustrated and he let his emotions take over because his team was getting their ass kicked again. Yes, that's exactly what happened. And then he had to come up and eat crow because he loud talked him and walked him off and humiliated the kid.
Yes.
In public. I'm sure the kid's like, Coach. Then you go back and watch. Hence why Coach always says, well, on the practice field, Segs, when you do something stupid or in the game, you know what they say? Throw a pick. We'll look at it tomorrow. Let's get on to the next series. And we'll see. And if he'd have done it that way and looked at it the next day, he'd have said that was a hustle play and didn't do anything wrong other than the score of the game. But I'd rather have him do that. What would Mick have done if the guy was walking and let the guy go get a free dunk? Same thing, right? Benched him. Yeah, Mick made a mistake, and he knows it. And good that he got out in front of it. But how about this? Slow your shit down.
But yeah, but even like he came out and said, I apologize to Jamerson. Fine.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and what you're talking about, like, we have the technology now. The assistant coaches have iPads. They are able to look at the play and say, like, oh, hey, coach, I don't even think this should be a F1, a flagrant one. Like, I mean, we're sitting here watching it. That's why we get these reviews now, because there is an iPad or a tablet that they can look at, and they can say, oh, that ball is definitely out on them. We want to challenge that. So, I mean, this can't happen now. You can't embarrass a kid like this and then just come back, try and make a few corny jokes and think everything's okay. I know you sat down and apologized to the kid. Yeah, well, he still might, but I'm just saying, like, you can't do this to a kid and not be 100% sure, especially reacting off Michigan State's kids, because every kid, anytime now you get touched, it seems like they want to throw hands. So you cannot go off the reaction of the other team. Every single play, there's a foul, and you see the benches erupt when nobody touched anybody. We see LeBron James get hit in the face, yet we watch the replay, and there's nobody within 3 feet of his face, yet he's holding his nose like he just got punched.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't do that.
Mick Cronin is 100% wrong all the way through this. Glad he apologized, but with that, take somebody, look at the surface sitting on the bench and say, hey, coach, and I'm sure when he was reminded of it, he's like, man, I overreacted, talk to Izzo about it and the rest of it. It was an overreaction, no harm, no foul. But you know what? Some kids, good that the kid's not overly sensitive, because if he was, he would have transferred. Kids will bolt that quick. Mick Cronin made a mistake. Hopefully they'll get it fixed and turn this around at UCLA, just as long as it's not at USC's expense. How's that?
Yeah. All right. Before we get out of here, excuse me, we got 2 massive games. So we'll do our bet of the day with 2 games today. Let's start 2:00 Central on ABC. We're going to have Arizona, who I don't think they'll have Koa Pete back. We'll see, but they're the 4th ranked team taking on number 2 Houston. Houston is a 5.5 point favorite. Can the Cougars cover that number?
They're a 5.5 favorite over 5.5 point favorite over Houston. You said, right?
No, Houston is the favorite over
5.5. I was going to say, damn, the way it's went. That's a weird line, Segs, because I didn't even look at the line.
Right.
I think this game's close. I think they can cover. Give me Houston to win, but I think this game's a 3-point game. But I think Houston wins. So 5.5 is a little too much for a team.
Koa Pete will not play.
I still think they can hang around. Houston will defend everything. I think they can hang around. Houston wins the game, but Arizona, it's a close game. I don't think it's a blowout. Give me Arizona with Houston to cover.
Okay. All right. I like that. I would go. It's been such a brutal stretch for Arizona just in who they've played. It's towards the end of a really tough stretch. And Houston hasn't had it much easier coming off the Iowa State game. I'm going to take Houston to cover. I think they'll cover the 5.5. And then 139.5. 70. I'll take the over. I'll take the over in this game. I think
I would agree. We always have the tendency when Houston's playing to take the under. I would take the over because they can score too. So.
Yes, Arizona can score and Houston can score. And then we got number 1 Michigan taking on number 3 Duke. That number is Michigan minus 2.5.
Where's that game at, Segs? Cameron Indoor?
No, it is in Washington, D.C. at a
it's in D.C., so neutral site.
One arena.
What's the points?
148.5. High.
The number bugs me. I'm going to take the under in the game.
Okay.
Give me the under. I think your Wolverines win, Segs, but this is a dangerous game because Duke's really good. I have a temptation to bet this as much as I love your team, but this may be one of those one at the foul line late or something. I don't. It's going to be a hell of a watch. That's two phenomenal games this weekend. I'll take Michigan, the neutral site, but I'm going to stick with the under. I feel a little better about that. I'm not overly secure with your Michigan Wolverines doing that. There's a part of me that thinks a lot of people's going to take Duke on a money line too, but I'm going to take the under in the game. I feel safer with that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to take Michigan, but my reasoning would be I think the ACC's down. I don't know how many good teams are in the ACC. I think
I like football season, Segs. Yeah.
I think Duke is definitely one of them. North Carolina is really good when Caleb Wilson's on the floor, but Duke has not seen, the Boozer kid has not seen this kind of length that he's going. I mean, he's going to be guarded by either Yaxel Lendeborg, who's his size, Morez Johnson, who's bigger than Boozer, or a Daimara, who's 7'4" and one of the best defensive bigs in the country. So I think the length will give Duke problems. I think Michigan wins by more than the 2.5. But, you know, if they win by double digits, Sean, just cancel the rest of the season.
Well, dude, if they go win by double digits, dude, I'll bow to you and
I mean,
kiss the ring on your finger, brother. Yeah,
if they win by double digits. But the 148, I would take the under as well. This is the number 1 and number 2 ranked defensive teams in the country. So
that's why I'm taking the under. They both defend big time. Well, yes. We got some teams that really in those two game segs, some relentless teams on the defensive end. With Arizona, Houston, and Houston and those two teams, meaning Michigan and Duke, at the top of that list when it comes to putting as much effort on the defensive end for 40 minutes as they do on the offensive end, and they epitomize what defense is supposed to be. That'll be a hell of a game. I like the under in it though.
Yeah, so we got those two games. We also have Iowa State, BYU. We have UConn, Villanova, which is a sneaky game. Arkansas, Missouri is a good game.
This is a Saturday of basketball, Segs. Yes. It's like the weekend of basketball that feels like that biggest college football weekend during the season.
Yes, Vandy, Tennessee, North Carolina, Syracuse. So, I mean, we got some games this weekend in college basketball on Saturday. So,
can't wait for
a fun day to just sit back and relax and watch the games. So,
yep.
All right. Well, that'll do it for today, this week of Unpaved. Next week, we'll have a little different schedule. We'll let you know on Monday exactly how we're going to do it.
Monday and Tuesday the same, but there's some vacation time.
Yes.
We got to get in before we kick in, but we'll let you guys know next week. But 1 o'clock Eastern on Monday.
We want to get it in before NFL free agency, before the combine really kicks in. And so we'll let you know of that Monday. JB will join us. We'll talk. Who knows?
More gold medals, hopefully, Zegs. More gold medals.
Yes, we got USA today playing to get into the gold medal game. But yeah, this past Monday with JB, it ended up being mostly about like Cologuard and colonoscopies and stuff being shoved up butts.
Nobody said JB didn't like a finger in his ass. So there you go. That's on JB, not me and you. Yeah. All I do is tee him up, Segs. But when I gave him the Cologuard, he's like, I don't have to put anything up. Yeah, go get the Cologuard, dude. There's nothing going up your ass. So, okay. So I think I turned him on to something new. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want a finder's fee, not the fine down there, but I want the money that goes with it.
Right. All righty. Thank you for watching Unpaved, the flagship show of USC football, Houston Texans coverage. Go to YouTube at Unpaved Sean Salisbury. Follow him at Sean Unfiltered. Myself at Adam G. Sager. Thanks to Bailey and Laura and all our viewers and listeners. We will talk to you guys next week. Peace.
Have a great one.
Unpaved Sean Salisbury here for bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.